What's going on, Arts Wanderer? Sir Harold here, and you're watching Valenzuela Live. Are you ready to time travel and explore different places full of wonderful things? Buckle up and be ready with your paper, pen, and learning packet as we take the Art Wonderful expedition on the Western Classical Art tradition only here in the Art Wonderland.
Time travel and seize the world with full fun of learning. Discover the arts and crafts that represents culture and traditions. This is the Art Wonderland.
But before we begin with our Art Wonderful expedition, let us first be reminded of the protocols to follow during the live streaming class.
Protocols to follow during the live streaming class. Respect everyone. Agree to recognize and abide by the protocols in the live stream and respect the feelings, rights, or traditions of everyone. No hate speech. Do not express or discourage violence towards a person or group based on something such as race, religion, sex, or sexual orientation. Be guided with the anti-cyberbullying law. Make sure that everyone feels safe. Bullying of any kind isn't allowed, and degrading comments about things such as race, religion, culture, sexual orientation, gender, or identity will not be tolerated. No promotion of products or items. Give more to this group than you take. Selling of products, self-promotion, spam, and irrelevant links aren't allowed. Use appropriate words in giving suggestions, comments, and queries. We're all in this together to create a welcoming environment. Let's treat everyone with respect. Healthy debates are natural, but kindness is required. After the FB live streaming, attend follow-up discussion in the different platforms provided by your subject teachers such as Messenger, Google Classroom, Google Meet, or MS Teams. Maximize the features of the different platforms to deepen your understanding of the competencies with the help of your subject teachers.
I hope everyone will be guided by the protocols for us to maintain order during our session. At the end of our Art Wonderful expedition, you are expected to analyze art elements and principles in the production of work following the styles of a Western and classical art. Identify distinct characteristics of arts during the different art periods. Identify representative artists from various art periods. Reflect on and derives the mood, idea, or message from selected artworks. Discuss the use or function of artwork by evaluating their utilization and combination of art elements and principles. Use artworks to derive the tradition or history of an art period. And lastly, compare the characteristics of artworks produced in the different art periods. But before we go, I would like you to meet our travel buddy in this Art Wonderful expedition, Bonky.
What's up, Art Wanderers? It's me, Bonky. I will be your tour guide, and I will help you in accomplishing different tasks in our Art Wonderful expedition. Your first task today is to review the different elements of arts by arranging the jumbled words that you might encounter along the way. I will give you 5 seconds for each item. Number 1 involves decorating with planned and repeated units. Did you answer pattern? You are right. Number 2, this means all is harmony, and variety adds interest. The correct answer is unity. Number 3 refers to arrangement and symmetry. If your answer is balance, you are right. Number 4 deals with the creation of a focal area in a work of art. Emphasis is the correct answer. For the last jumbled word, this is the distance around, between, above, below, and within an object. It's space. Great job, Art Wanderers. Back to you, Sir Harold.
Thank you, Bongi, for that art wonderful task. Now let us see what you know about the Western classical art tradition by having your second task entitled, I Belong. You will classify the different artworks or pictures based on the periods or era they belong to, by putting the letters on the table in your module, or just simply key in the number of the era followed by the letter of the artwork or the picture in the comment section. Take it away, Bonky!
Letter A, Cave of Lascaux. If your answer is number 1 or prehistoric, you are correct. Letter B, Calyx Crater, or Mixing Bowl. If your answer is number 3 or Greek, that is right. Letter C, Mosaic of Theodora. If your answer is number 5 or Byzantine, you are also right. Letter D, Paintings from the Sarcophagus of Tutankhamun. If your answer is number 2 or Egyptian, you are doing great. Letter E, Head of Alexander. If your answer is number 4 or Roman, that is correct. Letter F, Rose Window. If your answer is number 7 or Gothic, you are indeed doing the right decision. Letter G, the Morgan Leaf. If your answer is number 6 or Romanesque, affirmative. You got it right. And for the last letter, letter H, Fresco from the Villa of Mysteries. If your answer is number 4 or Roman, you are certainly correct. Wonderful! You've matched all the paintings on the following art period. Congratulations! Back to you, Sir Harold.
Let us now answer the following question based on our previous task, I Belong. You may key in your answer to our comment section, or you may write them directly on your modules. Number 1. How did you classify artworks into their respective periods? And for the number 2 question, what is your basis of classification? Your 30 seconds timer starts now. Wow! That is a good way of having a basis in classifying artworks based on their periods. Good job! I think you are now equipped in analyzing the elements and principle of arts and designs in an artwork. We can now time travel to the different periods of Western classical art and explore the different characteristics, styles, functions, and type of art forms such as painting, sculpture, and architecture. But for now, we will focus on the art form which is painting. And we will discover how they develop as we travel in every period. Let us start with the paintings from the ancient era. And under this era, we have the prehistoric era and the Egyptian era. Welcome to the prehistoric era. It includes all human existence before the emergence of writing. Their art is of interest not only to art historians, but also to archaeologists and anthropologists, for whom the art is only one clue along with fossils, pollens, and other finds to an understanding of early human life and culture. Paintings from the prehistoric era were found inside the caves, which may have been their way of communicating with each other. It may also be for religious or ceremonial purposes. It may be more an artifact of an archaeological evidence than a true picture of humans' first created art. Prehistoric drawings of animals were usually correct and proportioned. Cave of Lascaux is a cave where we can find different examples of paintings during the prehistoric era. Dominant features in the paintings were large animals native to the region. Discovered on the 12th date of September 1940 and given statutory historic monument protection. The painting has nearly 2,000 figures composed mainly of animals, human figures, and abstract design. Some sections have been identified inside the cave, such as the Great Hall of the Bulls, the Lateral Passage, the Shaft of the Dead Man, the Chamber of Engravings, the Painted Gallery, and the Chamber of Felons. Hello there! Welcome to Ancient Egypt. The purpose of Egyptian painting is to make the deceased afterlife place pleasant. Themes include the journey to the underworld, introducing the deceased to the gods of the underworld by their protective deities. It emphasizes the importance of life after death and the preservation of the knowledge of the past. Most paintings were highly stylized, symbolic, and show a profile view of an animal or a person. The main colors used were red, black, blue, gold, and green, taken derived from mineral pigments that can withstand strong sunlight without fading. The paintings from the sarcophagus of Tutankhamun is an example of paintings during the ancient era. The paintings of the walls on the tomb show events of the life of the king while he was still on earth, and the scenes he expects to encounter in the underworld after his death. Let us now proceed to the paintings from the Classical Era. And under this era, we have the Classical Greek Era and Romantic Era. Welcome to Classical Greece. Paintings from the Classical Greek era were most found in vases, panels, and tombs. It depicts natural figures with dynamic compositions. Most of the subjects were battle scenes, mythological figures, and everyday scenes. It reveals a grasp of linear perspective and naturalist representation. The most common methods of Greek painting were fresco and encaustic. Fresco is a method of painting water-based pigments on a freshly applied plaster, usually on a wool surface. Colors are made with grind powder pigments in a pure water, dry, and set with the plaster to become a permanent part of the wall. Ideals for murals, durable, and has a matte style. Encaustic, on the other hand, was developed to use by Greek shipbuilders who used the hot wax to fill the cracks of the ship. Soon, pigments were added and used to paint a wax hull.
Vase painting. Kirch style or Kirch vases are red-figured pottery named after the place where it was found. Shapes commonly found are pill-like that serves as wine container. Lecanis, a low bowl with two horizontal handles and a low broad foot. Lebes gamicos with high handles and lid used to carry bridal bath. And a crater, which is a bowl used for mixing wine and water. The most common motifs are seen from the life of women that is often exaggeratedly idyllic. Mythological beings that were popular among the people of the Black Sea, or a scene from a mythical story or event. Polychromy is a technique used in a vase painting, which is a combination of different colors, especially the brilliant one, in an artistic manner. Another example of vase painting is the Judgment of Paris. Panel painting. There are paintings on flat panels of wood. It can be either a small, single piece or several panels joined together. Most of the panel paintings no longer exist because of the organic composition. The earliest known panel painting is the pizza panel. Tomb or wall painting was very popular during the classical period. It uses the method frescoes, either tempera or water-based, or encaustic or a wax. It has a sharp, flatly outlined style of painting, and because it uses water-based materials, very few samples survived. Artists rely on the shade and use of paint to create depth and a lifelike feeling. Tomb of the Diver is an example of tomb or wall painting. The image was painted using a true fresco technique with a limestone mortar. It depicts a symposium scene on the wall.
Let's go around Rome. Paintings from the Romantic era were copied or imitated from Hellenic Greek paintings. Fresco techniques was used in brightly colored backgrounds. Division of the wall into multiple rectangular areas, or also known as tic-tac-toe design, multiple perspective, and a trompe-l'oeil effect. Roman paintings have a wide variety of subjects: animals, everyday life, still life, mythological subjects, portraits, and landscapes. The development of landscape painting is the main innovation of Roman painting from Greek painting.
Mosaic is an art process where an image is created using an assemblage of small pieces of colored glass, stone, or other materials. This technique uses for decorative art or interior decorations. Head of Alexander is an example of a mosaic during the Romantic era. The full image is a Roman floor mosaic in the house of the Font Pompey, dated 100 BC. The whole mosaic depicts the battle between the armies of Alexander the Great and Darius III of Persia. Fresco from the Villa of Mysteries. This fresco painting was believed to depict ceremonial rites, either marriage or initiation of a woman in a mystery cult. Bosco Trecase Pompei is another example of fresco during the Romantic period.
Lastly, we have the paintings from the medieval era. Under this era, we have the Byzantine era, the Romanesque era, and the Gothic era. Let us now visit the Byzantine Empire. The lively styles of the Byzantine paintings that had been invented in Greek and in Rome lived on in Byzantine, but this time for Christian subjects. By the 11th century, the Greek and Oriental styles seemed to blend in magnificent, imposing images which adorned the churches in large and small forms.
The court of Empress Theodora is an example of painting during the Byzantine era. Theodora was an ancient queen with dark eyes and hair with a fierce expression.
The next tab is Romanesque Style. These are largely placed mosaics on the walls of the churches that follow a strictly frontal pose. It has a remarkable variety of artistic traditions such as modeling and treatment of faces and draperies that follow Byzantine convention, while the refreshingly decorative feeling comes from southern French styles. Shows traces of Mozarabic influence, or Arabized influence through elongated oval faces, large staring eyes and long noses, figures against flat colored bands, and heavy outlining.
Christ in Majesty is a painting from the Church of Saint Clemente Tauliado, Spain. Christ wears a grayish-white robe with a blue mantle. Underneath the mandorla, the Italian word for almond in painting, it is used to describe an enclosure surrounding holy figures. It's a black band with white writing. On each side of the center window are three arches resting on columns of capitals in green, red, and black in between of figures of the Virgin Mary. And five saints are columns with wavy line pattern going vertically. This mural painting has been moved to Barcelona and replaced by a replica.
And we are now down to our last destination. Let us experience the paintings from the Gothic era. Paintings have been confined in the illumination of manuscript pages and the paintings of frescoes on the walls of churches in cosmopolitan style, elegant, mannered, and sophisticated.
Lady and the Unicorn Tapestry is an example of painting in the Gothic era. Subjects usually depict popular legends and love stories patterned like Mille Fleurs or Thousand Flowers show influence which may have been due to the Crusades. Stained glass windows were created to transform the vast stone interiors with warm and glowing colors and at the same time instructed Christians in their faith. Rose window from the north transept is an example of stained glass window. Another example of painting during the Gothic era is the Shepherd David. The paintings show some realistic details and show naive naturalism.
And those are the different painting art forms from the different periods of the Western classical eras.
Hello, art wanderers. It was an art wonderful time travel from the past. To check your knowledge, let us play throughout time. I challenge you to identify the periods or styles that these set of paintings or photos represents. You may key in your answers to our comment section. What do you think these photos represent? These paintings fall under the Gothic style. What do you think these photos represent? You got it right. These beautiful paintings represent the Roman era. How about these photos? Correct. This set of photos was an ancient Egyptian style. Now for the last set of pictures. Very good. This is a representation of the classical Greek era. Congratulations, art wanderers. You are truly focused and passionate about our travel adventure on Western classical art. I am so proud of you. Sir Harold, back to you.
Thank you, Bonky, for that another art wonderful task. Even before humans learned to read and write, they were already artists as manifested by the different archaeological discoveries from the different parts of the world. Every citizen of the world has its distinct art forms depending on these aesthetic and utilitarian needs. Different eras, different styles, different characteristics and functions of the arts occurred, but all of those contributed to the development and establishing the importance of arts in our lives today. Quiz time! Let us now check your knowledge of the things that you have learned by answering the following question. You may key in your answer to our comment section, or you can write them directly on your modules. You will be given 5 seconds for each item. Here's once again our travel buddy, Bonky, to facilitate your test. Take it away, Bonky.
Thank you, Sir Harold. Test 1. Identification. Identify what art period was being described in each number. Number 1. Their paintings were found inside the caves. The correct answer is prehistoric. Number 2. The emphasis of their arts depicts the importance of life after death. If your answer is ancient Egypt, that is right. Number 3. The mosaic of the court of Empress Theodora is an example of artwork from this period. If you have answered as Byzantine, you are also right. Test 2. Multiple choice. Write the letter of the correct answer. Number 1. It is a method of painting water-based pigments on a freshly applied plaster, usually on a wall surface. Letter A, acrylic. Letter B, encaustic. Letter C, fresco. Letter D, trompe-l'oeil. If your answer is C, fresco, you are doing great. Number 2. It is a method of applying pigments mixed with beeswax and fixed with heat after its application. Letter A, acrylic. Letter B, encaustic. Letter C, fresco. Letter D, trompe-l'oeil. If your answer is B, encaustic, you have a check. Number 3. An art process where you create an image using an assemblage of small pieces of colored glass, stones, or other materials. Letter A, collage. Letter B, mosaic. Letter C, stained glass. Letter D, trompe-l'oeil. If your answer is B, mosaic, affirmative. You got it right. And for the last number. It is a colored glass used to form decorative or pictorial designs. Letter A, collage. Letter B, encaustic. Letter C, mosaic. Letter D, stained glass. If your answer is D, stained glass, you are certainly correct. Excellent job, Art Wanderers. Back to you, Sir Harold.
Thank you so much, Bonky, and great job, Art Wanderers. It was a jump-packed tour, right? Once again, this is Sir Harold, your Wonder Art teacher, and always remember, art is fun, but most importantly, it tells what kind of life we have before, and it is also a way of preserving our culture. Stay safe, everyone. Have a good day and see you in our next tour.